They are not modals. They are semi-modal verbs. Hello, this is Josh and welcome to English Speaking 360. Today we are going to study 10 semi-modal verbs together. I'm going to give you all the different forms and I'm going to give you many examples at the different verb tenses. And also, if you need extra practice, don't forget to visit my website. Everything on the website is 100% free. Modals and semi-modals? You probably already know the modal verbs because we use them a lot in English. Semi-modals are very similar. In fact, both types can express obligation, permission, ability, possibility, preference, or even advice. But what's the difference? Semi-modals are special because they require to before the verb. For example, I have to go. But modals don't use to. I must go. We never say I must to go. They often change form depending on the subject or the verb tense. For example, he has to go, not he have to go. And I had to go, I had at the past tense. However, modals don't change. He must go. So modals very often cannot be used at a different tense. Also, semi-modal verbs require auxiliary verbs like do, does, did in negatives and also in questions. For example, does she have to go? Does is the auxiliary verb helping to make the question form. Must she go? Modals do not need an auxiliary verb to make a question. Let's begin with have to. Have to is very similar to must, so use it to show obligation. You have no choice. You are obligated to do something. For example, you have to follow the speed limit. You don't have a choice here. You must follow the speed limit. Now that is the present tense. Here's another example. She has to slow down. Like we said before, semi-modal verbs have to agree with the subject. So in this case, he, she, or it, the third person at the present tense, you need to add an S. She has to slow down. You will have to reduce your speed. You will, that is the future. He had to watch his speed. He had to in the past. Do you have to hit the brakes? Do, here you see that is the question form. You need the auxiliary do to be able to make the question. And the negative question, don't you have to drive slower? Don't is the auxiliary verb that you need to make the question here. However, be very careful here because you don't have to slow down. Don't have to, that is the negative form of have to. But watch out because have to is similar to must, but don't have to is not similar to must not. In fact, don't have to means that there is a lack of obligation. It is not necessary. It is very different from you must not slow down. Must not means you cannot slow down. You are not allowed to slow down. But you don't have to slow down means it's not necessary to slow down. You can slow down if you want or not. It's your choice. Need to. Need to is softer than have to. So use it when you want to show obligation or necessity. For example, I need to use the restroom. That's a very good example. I need to use the restroom. That is the present tense. Now, can you make the other forms? I want you to try at home because you have to be able to make the other ones too. For he, she, or it, what would you say? You would say, she needs to use the bathroom. Now, the bathroom and restroom both have the same meaning. Now, the negative form, she doesn't need to use the restroom. At the future form, you will need to use the facilities. The facilities, the bathroom, the restroom, all have the same meaning. The past form is he needed to use the men's room. Question form, do you need to go? Do you need to go is a very casual way to ask someone if they need to go to the bathroom. Or you can also have a negative question. Don't you need to use the bathroom? Don't you need to use the bathroom with the auxiliary do? Ought to. Now this one is a little bit more challenging because we don't use it very often. Ought to is similar to should, and you can use it to show mild obligation or advice as well. You ought to relax more. You ought to relax more is very similar to you should relax more at the present tense. For the third person, he ought to take a break. At the past, I ought to have started earlier. Now, like I said, ought to is very special because there is no third person S. You notice here, he ought to take a break, not he ought to take a break. There is no S. There is no future tense. You cannot say you will ought to relax more. Ought to already has a sense of future. There is no negative form either. You ought not to is a little strange, so we don't use it. And there is no question form, so you have only the present and the past with ought to have. Used to. Now this one is super important. Use it to talk about past habits or past states. For example, 10 years ago, I used to read a lot. I used to read a lot. Now that is past here. There is only the past tense for used to. There is no present and there is no future. The third person, he used to wear glasses. So at the past also, he used to wear glasses. So 10 years ago, he wore glasses, but now he doesn't anymore. It's a past habit. Here you have to notice that there is no third person S because there is no present tense. So there is never a need for an S. As a state, because we said it's also for past states, he used to be a nerd. He used to be a nerd. So because of the verb to be, it is a state. 10 years ago, he was a nerd, but now he is not a nerd anymore. The negative form, he didn't used to exercise. Now watch out here because it's not used to. It becomes didn't used to. He didn't used to exercise, but now he does. Question form, did you used to study a lot? Watch out here because the past tense used, the D is moved to the auxiliary do, and then do becomes did. Did you used to study a lot? And the negative question, didn't you used to work at the library? It means in the past, 10 years ago, did you on a regular basis work at the library? Be going to. Now, be going to is very similar to will, so you are probably very familiar with it. Use it to talk about future plans. Watch out, not for all future tenses, but future plans. For example, I'm going to travel this summer. I am going to travel this summer is future. I know you are looking at I am and maybe you think, oh teacher, that is the present tense. I am. No, it's I am going to, and that has a future meaning. How about the third person? This one you have to change, right? She is going to go to Rome. The negative form? She isn't going to make it to Venice. She is not going to make it to Venice. The not must be placed between the verb to be and going. What about the past form? Sam was going to go with her, but but he didn't have enough money. Sam was going to. It's a past future or a future in the past. He had plans to go with her, but his plans have changed. So Sam was going to go with her. How about the question form? Are you going to travel this summer? Here, because it's be going to, the auxiliary is the verb to be, not the verb do. Do you going to travel this summer doesn't work. Are you going to travel this summer is a perfect question. And the negative question, isn't she going to go with her boyfriend? So once again, you put the not right after the auxiliary be. Be able to. Be able to is similar to can, so use it to show ability. I am able to speak 5 languages. That's at the present tense. How about the third person? He is able to read many languages. The negative form? She isn't able to read Korean. Future? You will be able to speak English if you keep watching my videos. The past tense. She was able to understand French. Question. Are you able to speak Spanish? Negative question. Isn't he able to understand German? Be allowed to is also similar to can, but in a different way. So use it to express permission, not ability. I am allowed to swim here. I am allowed because of I, so the verb to be changes to am. You are allowed to swim here. How about the third person? He is allowed to use the pool. Negative. We are not allowed to dive here. We aren't allowed to dive here. Future. You will be allowed to swim after checking in. Past. She was allowed to use the pool until 10 p.m. Question. Are we allowed to eat by the pool? Oh, that's a very good question. Are we allowed to eat by the swimming pool? Everybody wants to know that. And the negative question, isn't he allowed to drink by the pool? Be supposed to is similar to should and must put together. So use it to talk about expectations or rules. For example, I am supposed to be at work by 9 a.m. Now, once again here, I am, but it is not the present tense. I am supposed to be at work by 9 a.m. It has a sense of future. In this case, it is a future, but there is no will to express the future. We never use will with be supposed to. How about the third person? He is supposed to be working on our project. He's supposed to, but maybe he's not. Negative form? We aren't supposed to sleep at the office. We are not supposed to sleep at the office, but he is sleeping right now. So supposed to means it is a rule, but it doesn't mean that the rule is being followed. So that's also very important. What about the past tense? You were supposed to finish this yesterday. You were supposed to, but you didn't finish this yesterday. Question form? Am I supposed to do all this work by myself? Isn't he supposed to be at the meeting? I see the guy sleeping at his desk, and I wonder, isn't he supposed to be at the meeting? I think he should be at the meeting, but he's not there. He is not following the expectations that other people have for him. Had better. Now watch out. Had better, I put a little star there because some people don't think it's a semi-modal verb. But let me explain it anyway. It is similar to should, but it is more powerful than should. Use it to give strong advice or a warning. So you are giving a warning to someone. it implies a consequence. It means that something bad is going to happen to you if you don't follow my strong advice. For example, you had better stay home today. So you see the weather in the picture. You had better stay home today. This is both present and future. Had better is a fixed expression. So you will had better doesn't work. You have better doesn't work either. Had better stays the way it is. But there is a contraction. For the contraction, we say you'd better. You had better stay home. You'd better stay home. Had better is never followed by to. And that is one of the reasons why some people say it is not a real semi-modal verb. He had better cancel his fishing plans. He had better to cancel his fishing plans does not work. He'd better cancel his fishing plans. The negative form, we had better not go swimming. We'd better not go swimming. There is no past form, and the question form is very rare, so I'm going to skip it here. You don't need to use had we better. Had we better is very weird. Instead, usually we say should we or shouldn't we for the question form. Would rather is another special case. Like I said about the previous one, some people do not include it in the semi-modals, but I'm giving it to you as a bonus. Would rather is similar to prefer. So use it to talk about what you prefer right now. So someone is giving you a choice right now, and you pick one of the two options. For example, here, look at the picture. Eat at home or eat out. Go to the restaurant. Which one do you want to do tonight? Oh, I would rather eat at home today. I prefer eating at home today. It is both present and future. It's a fixed expression also. So would rather doesn't change, except if you want to use the contraction, you can say I'd rather eat at home today. One more thing, it is never followed by to. I would rather to eat at home today does not work. I would rather eat at home today. There is no to. How about the third person? Like I said, it's a fixed expression. So she would rather eat out tonight. It doesn't change. There is no S. The negative form, he would rather not make dinner tonight. The past form, I would rather have stayed home last night. Would rather have plus PP. So would rather plus the present perfect implies a past preference. The question form, would you rather eat in or eat out tonight? Eat in or eat out. Two choices, so would you rather? So would rather, one more time, does not change. It is a fixed expression, but you can put a pronoun right here. Would you rather eat in? So you can put the you in between, and that's okay. Now it's quiz time, guys. We have studied so many things, so the quiz is not going to be easy. Now I'm going to give you a sentence like this one, and you have to correct the mistake. Can you find the mistake in this sentence? You supposed to show your ID. And the correct sentence is, you are supposed to show your ID. Question 2. I used to go swimming every day. Did you spot the mistake? If you're able to correct it, it should look like this. I used to go swimming every day. But when we speak fast, it does sound like I used to. I used to go swimming every day. Question 3. I am able to speak English well next year. Watch out here. Can you correct the mistake? There is a big mistake. And the answer is, I will be able to speak English well next year. You need will to make the future with be able to. Question 4. He will going to take the test tomorrow. He will going to take the test tomorrow. The corrected version is he is going to take the test tomorrow. He is going to take the test because be going to is already a future marker, so you do not need to add will. Question 5. I would rather to eat pizza than chicken for dinner. Can you correct it? The corrected version is I would rather eat pizza than chicken for dinner. Like I said before, there is no to after would rather. Question 6. I didn't used to like coffee, but now I do. I didn't used to like coffee, but now I do. Remember, we talked about this. Used to is already past. So if you use an auxiliary, I didn't used to like coffee, but now I do. The auxiliary takes the past tense. Question 7. You are not allowed parking here. You are not allowed parking here. This one should be easy to correct. You are not allowed to park here. Be allowed to. The to is necessary. Question 8. You have better to take an umbrella. You have better to take an umbrella. Here, watch out because you have to correct two different things. So the corrected version is you had better take an umbrella. Had better doesn't change and there is no to after had better. Question 9. Sorry, too late. You will have to take the next flight. So the man was running to catch his flight, and when he got to the gate was closed. So they said, sorry, too late, you will have to take the next flight. Can you correct it? In this case, there is nothing to correct. It was a correct sentence. Question 10. I would rather going on vacation with you than alone. Oh, that's very romantic. I would rather going on vacation with you than alone. Can you correct it? I would rather go on vacation with you than alone. After would rather, there is no ing. There is no to either. I would rather go on vacation with you than alone. You need more practice, right? It's not easy. Check out my website. There are many more activities on the website that you can do by yourself, and it will really help you improve. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.